James had always been a man of precision. As a young boy, he spent hours assembling intricate models, ensuring every piece fit perfectly, every detail meticulously planned. His obsession with order and perfection followed him into adulthood. In his early 30s, he found himself in a quiet, modern office, staring at a blueprint for his dream project, building a house of his own. It wasn't just any house. It was meant to be flawless, a physical manifestation of his drive for perfection. Every line on the blueprint had to be exact, every measurement precise. James would scrutinize every detail, checking and rechecking the calculations. The world around him, with its bustling office workers and the hum of computers, was a blur. His focus was singular, to build the perfect home. One afternoon, after a long day spent poring over architectural designs, James finally took the leap and decided to start building. He traded his office desk for the dusty construction site of his dreams, determined to see the blueprint come to life. The ground was uneven, the air thick with the smell of fresh mortar, but James didn't mind. Every brick he laid was another step closer to his vision. Sweat dripped from his brow as he carefully placed each brick, one by one, with precision. His hands were steady, his movements deliberate. Every wall, every beam, was exactly as he had envisioned. James was proud of the work he had done. The house slowly began to take shape, each brick a testament to his dedication and relentless pursuit of perfection. The wooden beams rose, the walls grew taller, and the frame of the house stood proud against the open sky. He could almost see it completed, every detail in its place, every measurement exact. Yet, with each passing day, something else began to happen. As the house took shape, so did a growing sense of unease inside James. He was no longer just building a house. He was building something that represented more than just mortar and bricks. It was a symbol of his life's work, a mirror of his unyielding need for perfection. He couldn't afford any mistakes. It was late one afternoon, as the sun began to dip behind the horizon, that James noticed it. One brick. One single, imperfect brick in the corner of a nearly finished wall. It was slightly out of alignment, just enough to disturb James's perfect vision. His heart sank. The wall was otherwise flawless. Each brick was laid with meticulous care, every measurement spot on. But this one small imperfection stood out like a glaring flaw in an otherwise pristine canvas. James felt a sense of frustration rise in him, his eyes fixed on the crooked brick. His hands hovered over the brick, unsure whether to leave it as is or tear down the entire section to fix it. He could hear the ticking of time in his head. If he didn't correct this now, it would forever nag at him, an imperfection that would haunt his perfect home. Yet, in his gut, he knew the effort it would take to fix it would delay everything. The more he stared at it, the harder it became to make a decision. Was this one small flaw worth tearing everything down for? His mind raced with doubts. It wasn't just about the brick, it was about everything he had built. Would this imperfection ruin the entire structure? Was the house still a success if it wasn't flawless? As James stood there, torn between his need for perfection and the growing realization that he might be missing something larger, his grandfather approached. A retired mason, his grandfather had spent his life building homes with his own hands. He knew exactly what James was feeling. "James," his grandfather called out gently, his voice calm yet full of experience. "You've done good work here. This house is solid. You've built it strong." James didn't respond immediately. He was still staring at the wall, his fingers twitching with the urge to fix the brick. "But the brick," James murmured, pointing to the flaw. "It's not right. It doesn't fit. I can't leave it like this." His grandfather walked closer, his old boots kicking up dust as he studied the wall. After a long pause, he looked at James, his eyes full of wisdom. "Do you see the house, James?" he asked. "Not just that brick, but the whole thing? It's more than the sum of its parts. A single misplaced brick doesn't ruin it." James was silent, unsure of what his grandfather meant. "But the whole house is built on precision. If I let this flaw remain, it won't be perfect." His grandfather smiled, a slow, knowing grin. James, perfection doesn't come from making everything the same. It comes from knowing when to step back and see the bigger picture. A house built with love, with care, will stand strong, no matter the flaws. It's the strength of the whole that matters, not the perfect alignment of every brick.